Hi guys, it's me Samantha here today with a new video, and today we are going to be talking about the new Pat McGrath Huetopian Dream palette. This is my first mothership palette, and so I'm going to kind of give you all of my first impressions. If you are new to my channel, my name is Samantha and I am a makeup enthusiast. I do a lot of first impressions, eyeshadow and tutorials. If you are interested in those types of videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can come back and see some more of my content. Now to get into the meat of the video, I just wanted to show you guys the palette here. Now I have a couple just like first thoughts when I got the palette and opened the box. The actual palette itself is sitting here on my desk, but I wanted to mention, like, this was the packaging I see all over YouTube everywhere, that it looks so cool and stunning and one of the big draws to Pat McGrath. But I have to say that, like, seeing it live in person, it isn't as impressive as I thought. Now you can see here, sorry, it's like pushed apart. It's just like, I don't know, the cardstock on here is not that firm, and so it looks like, you know, it looks like what it is instead of, I don't know, I just see Glamlight's packaging and some of its cardboard and all of that, and it's just way more sturdy than this. So I was slightly disappointed. Also, like, the string on here that unravels is very thin and flimsy. I don't see myself keeping this, even though I envisioned myself keeping this packaging here. And then this is what it looks like on the inside with the names of the shadows. Now, of course, the names are not on the palette, so it kind of makes you want to keep this just so that you have the shade names. But I mean, yeah, it just looks cheap and it's kind of bulky. It's not as aesthetically pleasing as I thought it would be, but that's that. I mean, when I was comparing it to like this little quad that I got, I felt like this was really innovative. The cardstock here has actual like embossing on it, so when you touch it you can feel like a little wood grain feeling to it, and the folds are really nice and clean. And yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit nicer. Granted, it is just cardboard and it can be tossed. The actual palette itself is really, really nice and sturdy. I just don't, you know, I hate that it doesn't have the names on it anywhere, like not even on the back. So that's a little just tidbit right off to start. The packaging itself is really nice, heavy plastic here, and it has a pretty beveled mirror on the inside, and then the shadows are quite large and in charge here, and this is what they look like. I think that's pretty accurate, that angle right there. I have swatched a few of these because I wanted to see if some of these shades can be duped, and I do think I have some shadows here in other palettes that are quite similar, and I will show you those at the end of the video. But right now I want to try to do you know, 2 different looks with this palette and see how the application goes from somebody who's never owned a mothership palette. This quad palette I got fairly recently, and then I have 2 other palettes, which one I loved, one I hated. So I think I'm pretty right there in the middle when it comes to Pat McGrath. So one of the reasons why I haven't purchased a mothership palette before is because a majority of the palettes have 6 non-special shades, and they're always pretty much something you have in a neutral palette somewhere already. If you have as many palettes as I do, which I think I'm close to the 200 range, I have most of these shades. These special shades here, you know, people rave about them, but I find that like other people compare them a lot to indie brands, and so I do have some indie eyeshadow, and And that's what I'm going to really see if it's worth it. And we'll have a little discussion about that later. So to start off with, I'm going to have this little shade card out. Now looking at the palette, there's really only one dark shade that I can use in my outer V, which is a little meh. So I'm going to start with this shade on my crease for one look, and I think I'll use this one for the other side. And I think that'll create kind of a more cool tone and a warmer tone side. Although there's not a warmer deep shade in here, but we'll just play it by ear. So I'm going to go in first with this brush from Profusion into that cool tone pink, which is called Secret Eden. All over the crease. Now, if you're curious why I don't swatch the palette first, you know, all out, it's just because I don't want to get full opinions or build a biased opinion based on the swatches, because sometimes when you apply things to your eyes, they don't come off as they seem in the palette. So for that reason, I tend not to do a full swatch, in case you were curious. That is building up quite nicely. I'm going to zoom you in. But it's still pretty light for how many times I feel like I've had to dip in. And I'm going to go in with that deeper shade here, which is called Extreme Plum Noir. And I'm using a BH Cosmetics V13 brush. It's two-sided, and I'm using the fluffy side. And I'm going to bring that to the outer corner. I do see it getting deeper, but I don't feel like, oops, it's that different than the shade I used before. Like, all right, so I think for this side, actually, I'm gonna go in with this shade here, which is called Blitz Sextreme, and it is a multi-chrome shade. And let's see if we can show you guys the shifts there. So there's green, kind of like a peachy gold to burgundy there. I think you can see it. So I'm going to put that on the center to outer part of the lid. Actually, I'm going to put that over the whole inner part, center, and then blend to the outer portion. And then I'm going to go back in with Extreme Plum Noir, which was that dark shade, and blend it out on the outer corner a little bit. I believe those blend in quite nicely together. I'm not sure if you can catch the shift on camera, but it is quite subtle. It's there, but it's quite subtle. It doesn't pack a punch, straight obvious. And so then I'm going to take this shade called Brawn Solaris 005. This is kind of a very strange texture, and it does have a little bit of a shift of like a bronzy color to a gold, and it's very thick and chunky like a glitter. I'm going to dab this on the center. I think, you know, you can do it like this. I'm not sure it would last all day. I think it would potentially flake off. So you know, ideally you might want to glitter glue with this. But just for experimental purposes, I think that goes on quite nice. And it emphasizes the shift of the other shadow a little bit. And then I'm going to also use this shade called Skin Show Nude Ecstasy in the inner corner. She always seems to throw in these kind of white gold shades, and I hate them because I don't really feel like they go with the more yellow gold looks. You can see it does feel and look out of place to me. So I'm just putting that down, and then I think I'm going to put that other shade on top. I just wanted you to see, like, I'm not sure why she thinks that looks good. If I was doing just the cool tones, like this 3 right here, I could see that working, but overall it's probably one of my least shades that she puts in these palettes, and I noticed that quite a bit. So I'm going to take that shiny bronze Solaris over top of that in the inner corner. So just bring back the yellow. But the glitter, I will say, in this shadow is very chunky. I could just, when I swipe that in my inner corner, I could kind of feel it on my inner corner. And it made me slightly nervous, almost like it, you know, worried a second, like if it wasn't eye safe. I'm sure that it is, but yeah, I do like the way that look has come out. That is this look. We're gonna work on this side here, and I don't know if I mentioned that I've primed my eyes using the Milani eyeshadow primer that I always use. So now we're gonna go into Shockwave, which is that peachy color, and I don't know if I'm gonna even use the Plum shade, honestly, on this side, because I just think I might do something more fun. I'm actually gonna maybe do a halo eye. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna put that all over ish. I do like this one. It like packs a punch. It looks really pretty. It blends out nicely. Like all the shadows blend nicely. I think just sometimes the pigmentation is I think even the pigmentation is good. It goes on nice and saturated, but the tones she picks can be really close to my skin tone in particular. I think if you're darker or lighter, it might show up a little bit better, you know? I'm loving this shade. Shockwave. I don't know why I'm holding my face like that. Like if it's doing something, it just makes me feel like it is. Oh, that's so pretty. Alright, sometimes here, because my eyes are downturned, the shadow doesn't stay right there so much. So I gotta go in with the smaller, tighter brush. I'm gonna use that BH1 again and just make sure I get it in there. Oh, I'm loving that. Alright. Now we're gonna do something unusual. I think I'm gonna take the Astral Amethyst Moon, which is this shade here. It's like pink, I'm sorry, purple fuchsia. It actually has more of a blue-green glitter shift to it. In person, it's more blue. In camera, it kind of looks green, but it's a purple blue shift. I think with the shine of the lights, it gives it a green look, but it's really more purple and blue, and we're gonna put that in the center. Now I think this is the shadow that most people want this palette for. The peach and the purple. Actually, I am going to just put this on the inner portion as well, instead of creating a halo. And I think that looks quite nice anyway. This feels very similar to that Bronze Solary shade, where it just feels like glitter, like a baked glitter shadow. And you can see I have some fallout of the glitter on my face. So although I was able to get it to stick without a glitter glue, this probably would be better to use with a glitter glue, honestly. And then I'm gonna take this other shimmer shade. It's called the Astral Venusian Orchid. It is like a pink with a yellow like shift, glitter shift. And I'm gonna put that on my inner corner. That one packs a punch. Actually, I'm gonna put that on this side here for the inner corner as well, because I think it's so pretty. I'm gonna actually just have more fun and put a dab of that over the center of this one. I got it a little too far up. Alright, so my eyes are done. I'm going to put on my brows and some mascara. And I might bring some of that pink down on my lower lash line, and I'll be right back. Alright, so these are the final looks that I have done with the new Pat McGrath Huetopian Dream Palette. And I have to say I do like the looks that I came up with, but I don't know if I would want to go and spend the money on another Pat McGrath Mothership palette. The quality of the eyeshadows are amazing, and you can get, it's nice to have all these special shades here together. Okay, I'm going to say that, because I do have some shades that are similar to a couple of these that are from indie brands that I like a little bit better, but you're getting the convenience of having it in a palette completed with other mattes and other shimmers. So for that, I'm not, you know, complaining about it whatsoever. But because I have these other products, I don't feel like I need this. The formulas are very unique, because even though I have similar eyeshadows, they're not baked like this as far as like these three here go. But I feel like some of them pack a little bit more of a punch. So I'm going to swatch a few of them for you and kind of show you my comparisons. Now, I don't have the most complete single eyeshadows collection from indie brands. There are a lot of girls out here on YouTube that have incredible collections and may have dupes for every single shade in this palette. I do not, but I do have some indie brands, and I do have some comparisons to show you. So keep watching and I will start showing you those. Now, I want to start out by saying that everything's rolling around. I want to start out by saying that I actually don't have anything like this Bronze Solaris 005 shade. So that's one shade that I know I can't dupe as far as this little quad here. This shade here, I have something semi-similar but not quite the same, but I'm sure there are plenty of shadows just like this out there. So I'm going to show you what I do have for this, which is one, I have a ton of this shade. It seems to be a popular shade in my collection, and then I have a couple options for this multi-chrome shade. So let's start with just that the Astral Venusian Orchid shade. So this is that shade. Once it's swatched out, you really cannot see the pink in it. You have to really have like the perfect angle of this perfect angle to see it, of the shift. That's what the word I was looking for. So for that, the only shade I have that is similar is this Andreas shade from Terra Moon. And again, it has a deeper, it's not the same. It has a deeper base, pink base to it, and the glitters in it are a lot finer. So it's not, you can see the shift more. That other shift, the other one, the Pat McGrath one, doesn't shift very much. But the color of the glitter is the same. They both have a pink base. Again, this one's more shifty and the sparkles in it are more like finely milled as opposed to being like big glitters, because you can see with this one it's just so many chunks of glitter. And that's why I was mentioning with the bronze one, when I used that in the inner corner, it did kind of feel like, ooh, is this safe to have on my eye, because the glitters were so big. So those were the only dupes that I had for that one. Then when we talk about the shade Astral Amethyst Moon, which is, and I'm not using a primer on my hand either because I want you guys to see how it really looks, which is this one. It's purple with a blue. Now that's what that looks like. You can see the blue sparkles, and then it is obviously a purple base. Close that up. In the Sugar Drizzle palette, there's a shade called Sugar Cube here. And it is a purple with a blue shimmer. This is the Sugar Drizzle. This is the Pat McGrath. Very, very similar. Breaking the Rules by Isabel Cosmetics has Go Rogue here in the center. And I'll tell you, both of these are like dupes of themselves, and I prefer these formula over the Pat McGrath. This is baked formula, and these are not. These go a lot smoother, and this one I would feel like you need a glitter glue, but these ones you don't. The next one is Bernovich. What shade is this one? It is number X23. This one is very soft and flaky. This is a little different because the purple is slightly deeper, but I feel like the purple and the other two are more similar. Again, that one's a little bit more crumbly of a shadow. We have from Terra Moons the shade Hydra. This one's similar, but it has, I think it's more special because it has actually more shifts to it. I'm not sure you will catch it on camera from that swatch, but you can see everybody screaming in my house. It has like an orange to pink to blue to purple shift. So this one is far more special, and I don't even know if you'll be able to catch that on camera. I don't know. I'm trying. So I think personally that one is even more special than the Pat McGrath one because you're getting more shiftiness. It's creamier, smoother. Creamier, smoother, and just as sparkly without like it being chunky at all. The Adept palette has that shade ACI 20. It's a popular shade, I feel like, so it's less and less special. Okay, that's the Adept one. This one right here is the Pat McGrath. The plain Jane has ACI 11, which is pretty similar as well. A little bit more purple than blue shift to it. And I'm pretty sure I have a Glam Shop shadow just like that. So as you can see, that shade right there in particular, I don't think is very unique. If anything, out of all of the ones that I just swatched for you, I think the Terra Moon Hydra one is the most special one because it has more shiftiness to it. There goes that shade. So then there's the multi-chrome shade called Blitz Sextreme. And this is like a bronze to gold to green type shadow. Okay. It's hard to catch these, you know, exact on camera, but in person, that's what it looks like. So then this is the Adept Kodak palette, and we have ACI 32. This is a little bit drier of a formula, but the shift is way more like dramatic. Let me show you with my finger because it's way more purple and the shift is way more dramatic than the one from Pat McGrath. ACI 112 from the Nihydran palette. This one is quite similar, but it leans a little bit more champagne gold. More similar to the Pat McGrath, but again, a little bit more champagne-y. Terra Moon has a few shades that shift to that color. There's Menagerie, and then there is Sundays. Like in the pan, Sundays looks a little bit more like the Pat McGrath. Mirage is a little bit more grayer, and then this one right here is Sundays. They both pack a little bit more punch than the Pat McGrath. Okay, so those were all the swatches for you, my demo. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. That lets me know to not make another one of these videos. And until next time, love you guys. Bye.